What up? Guys, I'm about to take you on a tutorial of how to do a backflip. Just stick with me, okay? And we're gonna go through this process together. First things first. Well, okay. Well, now we can go ahead and we can begin.
Starting out with your form, the way that you'll do this is you'll have your feet right next to each other, very, very strong, as well as your knees and every other part of your leg. Your arms are going to be up and tight by your ears. Now, I'm going to squat with my legs to about a 45-degree angle. As well as with my arms, I'm going to swing my arms down and swing them back up. And they're going to help me with the jump. Watch as I follow through with one of my jumps. Ooh, that's nice. Let's do it again. Ooh, that's nice. The next progression with this is we're just going to add a tuck with it and turn it into a tuck jump. Oh yes, that's nice. Now to turn this into one flowing motion, we're going to practice doing the tuck jump and a backwards roll. If you don't know a backwards roll, it's pretty much just rolling backwards. You're welcome.
The rolls aren't really mandatory, but I mean, if you want to get used to rolling backwards, totally fine, okay? Just make sure that you tighten up into a ball as tight as you can, because the tighter you are, the easier it is to do the trick. The tighter you are, the easier it is. Remember that. What I've noticed with people is sometimes it's easier to do the back tuck than it is to do the back handspring. And for others, it's easier to do the back handspring than it is to do the back tuck. So if you have your back handspring, this trick could be easier for the sheer fact that you have backwards momentum. You've jumped backwards before, you know how to do it, okay? So essentially, if you have your back handspring, you're just jumping backwards and trying so hard not to put your hands down. The less you put your hands down, the more of a backflip you're doing. If you do not have a back handspring, that's okay. Keep practicing those backwards rolls until you start to get confidence to jump backwards. To convert the back handspring to a back tuck, you got to change the angle that you lean back. If you lean back super far, you're going to jump back super far. So what you need to do is you need to stand up straighter before you jump. For example, instead of leaning back all the way over here to make it a back tuck, I'm going to be upright more. Not so much here, but more up here. The same thing with a front handspring and a front tuck. Front handspring, you lean farther forward. Front tuck, you don't lean as far forward. The farther forward you lean, the farther forward you go. The farther back you lean, the farther back you go. It's science. I don't know which science, but it's some kind of science. Let's do the steps with the back handspring again. And then start to jump higher. And higher. One thing to always make sure of, never, never, never let your knees go over your toes. What I mean by this, when I'm jumping, my leg position for squatting down is so important. If I squat like this and I try and jump, I lean forward and it doesn't help me at all when I'm going backwards. If I try to do a back handspring like this, I jump forward, okay?
You have to make sure that your knees do not go in front of your toes, okay? If they do go in front of your toes, that's when you're going to go forward. But if you jump with them behind, you go backwards. Nice. Bad example? Good example.
Make sure that your knees go behind your toes. I can't stress how important that is. If they go in front of your toes, you're going forwards. And if you're jumping backwards, you're probably going to eat it, which isn't good, okay? It doesn't feel good at all. If you want to know how that feels, imagine, here you are, running as fast as you can, looking this way. As soon as you look forward, a bar smacks you right in the forehead. It doesn't feel good. It never feels good. And that's why I'm telling you to get your knees to go behind your toes. If they do, it's gonna look so pretty. Let's move on to the next part of these backflips, all right? So something that a lot of people struggle with in these backflips is finding courage, which we can't blame you. The idea is you're jumping straight backwards in an awkward position, okay? Evolution never taught you to do this. Evolution taught you to look for vegetables and meat. Yep, fight or flight. The idea is getting over that fear and trusting yourself that you can jump backward. One trick to help you with the fear is as you keep practicing these really high back handsprings, one thing you gotta do is you gotta tuck into the tightest ball that you can. It's gonna feel awkward at first, but the tighter you get, like we were saying earlier with the backwards rolls, the tighter that you get, the faster that you flip. Let me show you an example. Good example versus bad example so that you can see the difference. Notice how when I jump into the air, that I grab my knees and I pull them in. Why? Because the tighter that my body is, the faster I spin. Science again, brings us back to science. I don't even know what science means, but I'm doing it. Make sure that you're not spread out the way that I had it. Do not do this, okay? It doesn't even look pretty. So even if you did the backflip and you're trying to impress that girl at the dance, I don't know if she'll be impressed, let's be real. Make sure your arms are so tight by your ears. Make sure that your legs are together and they're tucked in. Once you're doing these back handsprings, just practice lifting your hands more and more off the ground. If you don't have your back handspring yet, practice those rolls over and over and over again. Trampolines make backflips so easy. One thing that I tell everybody, all of my students, is once you throw it one time, it's never hard again, okay? Why? You got over the initial fear. Once you can get over the initial fear one time, you no longer have to trust in yourself, but you now know that you can do it. Why didn't I shave today? Man. Make sure you tuck it in, make sure you jump and get that courage, get that initial courage. Do it. So let's jump into the last step to make this look super pretty. We're already throwing the super high back handsprings, and we're already, starting to lift our hands off the ground. So the thing to make this look even prettier is those arms.
As you can see, I'm throwing my arms up into the air, and they do help me get a few more inches. If you do not believe me, let me show you an example without my arms. I do not get as high, and I don't have as much control, and that's why we use our arms, okay? Look at these arms. That's nice.
Make sure you are throwing those arms, okay? The harder you throw them and the harder you jump, the higher you get. Higher you get. It's science, okay? It's all about science. I should take a science class. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I do. So one important thing, if you find that you're not able to land this trick, you do it over and over and over, but you keep landing on your knees, okay? Don't worry, it's a super common problem, but it's not necessarily a problem. Well, it kind of is, but we can solve it. One thing that you can do, just grab your knees tighter and pull them in. Let's go through the position. When I jump up for a tuck, I jump and then I bring my knees in, right? Common problem is people come to this position. If you want to land on your feet, grab your knees and pull yourself in. If you pull them in like this, no matter what happens, you're gonna land on your feet. There's no way around it. Like this, your knees, instead of being there, your feet are now in position of your feet. Knees, feet. They swap spots, okay? Let me demonstrate.
As you can see, I hold my knees for as long as I possibly can, and I'm still able to land right on my feet, even if I'm all the way down on the ground.
Bring them in and you'll land it every time. Make sure on the landing, you absorb everything with your knees. You just bend and squat a little bit so that the energy can just go back into the earth from where you got it. I learned that from the Lord of the Rings. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment, like, subscribe. I'm gonna keep bringing more and more tutorials in the future. So make sure that you comment and you subscribe. So make sure that you subscribe and like these videos so that you can refer back to them in the future. This is the first of many. Be prepared for the future. Always remember that these tricks can be dangerous, and if you ever feel uncomfortable, maybe you should take a step back and rethink what you're doing, okay? Tricking is not for everybody. Be committed, be dedicated, but most importantly, be safe. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.